Came from a family with a single mum, and she worked like 3 jobs to make it happen. When I was a kid, and we had to wait for Tesco's, you're from the UK, for bread to go on sale because we had to watch our pennies. Well, where was anyone then? I also been through so much. I'm still going through a lot. Like I always say, if you're not in a problem, you're going to a problem, or you're coming from a problem. Like your life is full of problems. The only time you don't have a problem is when God stops waking you up.
Do you think prop firms are going to one day overtake the brokerage business?
The answer is no. Like prop firms can never overtake brokers because
Dan is a 6-figure trader who's built accounts, blown them, and rebuilt again. He knows what it takes to grow capital and why trying to flip small accounts isn't sustainable.
So for me making millions in props, and also me making in my personal account and building my businesses, and it didn't come overnight. It was really built. It takes time. You can't just do 100k overnight. If you do, remember, fast money leaves fast.
Yeah.
Slow money stays longer because it's slow.
Biggest problem most traders have is underfunded.
Yeah.
You try to flip $1,000 account into substantial money. Technically possible on paper, but let's be honest. Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm joined by the man himself, Dan Chung. Dan, how is it going, man?
Yeah,
awesome
good.
to have you here.
Look at the marina.
I know, look at the marina.
That's the first thing I want to say. Yeah, but I'm doing really well. I mean, we just finished off the IFX Expo, which I really enjoyed. I learned a lot, and it's nice to see like the props kind of really kind of make a statement in the industry, because I think like brokers and versus prop was like the biggest thing that kind of kept coming up. But other than that, I'm feeling good. How about you?
Yeah, man, it's been an absolute blast. I mean, it's been full on.
Yeah.
I've been here like 6 days now.
And you like Dubai?
I love Dubai, but
It's the best.
definitely thinking of moving out here.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
You're in the marina, right?
Yeah, I live in a
This
marina.
is home basically for you.
Yeah. Marina's sick, man.
Look at the view.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
sick. It's generally sick.
That's cool. So yeah, talk to me about the IFX and brokers and prop firms. So obviously, Ola Prime, we do both, right? Where do you see kind of like the future of prop firms versus brokers? Do you think prop firms are going to one day overtake the brokerage business?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I think the volume of brokerage is. Do you know what? I think the answer is no. Like prop firms can never overtake brokers, because at the end of the day, if you think about the large volume, there's 6 trillion in a day, right? They're traded in the financial markets. There's just that much volume being on there. And then you've also got a lot of large players like PAMs, MAMs. And straight away, if you think about it, some of those MAMs can go up to like 30 million or even more. And these prop firms are only like, the top one is doing like maybe 30 to 40 million in a month in a rev. But this is in one day, he has that sitting in that account. Do you know what I mean? So I think arguably, could prop overtake it? I'm not sure. But I think that brokers would always have the power of the liquidity, and also brokers also provide the LP to props as well. The tech is also provided to them, and then also the accounts are provided to them. So brokers will always be a foundation. However, prop firms are still such an infant stage. Like so many people who come into trading just think you trade with your own money, right? But no one knows about like props yet. And then like you said, with all the prop, like you got forex, you got futures, we've got crypto, and then people even doing them for like sports right now. It's just still so much to happen. And I think that in my head, just being in the industry in the States, is that it's a cycle. So forex was going up and down, and it had a massive crash with a lot of firms shutting down, etc., if you're aware of. Now futures is going through that because so many people are getting these massive 7-figure payouts, etc. And what it is it will take time for full circle for clients, like retail clients, like the traders yourselves and like myself, when I first took it, is to understand, okay, cool, props is a model. We can use it to make money, but at the same time, we need to use this as a stepping stone to go to personal. At the end of the day, no matter what, you have to go to personal. Whether you get banned, whether you get removed, whether it's this, that, and the other, maybe you can't have that country restriction or whatever it may be, it's always about going from this to this. Or what I like and personally believe in is to do both at the same time. Have your personal, and have your props. So I think props still early. Still so many people to come into it. Still so many people to learn about it. And hopefully this podcast gets like more prop traders. But yes, it's honestly easy money. Easy money once you get it.
I think especially in the retail space.
Yeah.
The whole market, maybe 5% is retail.
Yep.
Right. So I can't see why prop wouldn't be the first, like you said, the stepping stone into. Because, like everything's a percentage game, right? I think the biggest problem most traders have is the underfunded.
Yeah.
You try to flip $1,000 account into substantial money. Correct. Technically possible on paper.
Yes.
But let's be honest,
it's not sustainable. That's what I say. You could do like you can turn $1,000 into X amount. Like the stupidest flip I think I did was like maybe 500 to like 64k, then 5k to like 100 and something k. But they're one off. And then also what came after those was huge losses, right? I ended up losing 30k and then 20k. It's just not sustainable. Yeah. And instead of like brokers versus prop, right? Like if you think brokers, let's just say start trading. If you start the route of trading, $500 to learn, that costs you $500. Yeah. Well, you could just buy a 5k account for like $50 or $20, like a $5,000 trading account for like $50. So you can start trading for $50 essentially, which is kind of wild. And like, it's not to say you're going to make a load of money. It's not get rich quick, like chill out, but it is to like, just to learn, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like learn how to like open an account, learn how to trade. Cause sometimes demo only does so much, but if you've got like a 5k account, you're like, whoa, there's $500 here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you want bigger numbers, then use $500 to buy a 100k account. It's $100,000. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you just trade it slowly. And also you still have the opportunity, because if you can pass phase 1, phase 2, that account is yours as such to speak.
I mean, you're like huge in the prop business, right? Like you're smash. I've seen your channel. I've followed you before we even like, you know,
oh, really?
Met or anything.
You're gassing me up
absolutely.
now.
No, of course. Like I'm pretty sure I didn't even bother really introducing you properly, because I'm pretty sure most people watching myself. They're gonna know who you are, right?
Yeah.
So no, but it's real. But you've been smashing it, especially with your prop videos. You know, and I think most people when they watch stuff like that, they want to know, like, is there a secret? And I know there isn't, like, one particular secret or something you could just do and all of a sudden, boom, you're Dan Chung, right?
Yeah.
But, like, for the people watching who are interested getting into prop trading, what would kind of be the steps you would, if you had to coach them and say, right, first thing you do is this, B, C, D, whatever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, what would you...
I think let's start off with like a basic, right? For those who, because I feel like if I do this, it's easier, because like you said, when the Dan Chung and the wannabe champion, the brand has got so big that a lot of people put us on this pedestal, which, you know, is as much as I laugh about it, it is there though, because people are like, whoa, you know, and even when people come to me, they're like this, that and the other, but like, don't forget, I came from like nothing. So for the new people, my name is Dan Chung, which you probably already know. And came from a family with a single mom, and she worked like 3 jobs to make it happen. And realistically, I had a realization, like watching my mum do 3 jobs just to kind of like put food on the table and really struggle, actually instilled like hard work, and also instilled a whole level of accountability to understand that like it sounds harsh, but like no one cares. You know, like, yeah, of course people care about us now, but like when I was a kid and, you know, we had to wait for Tesco's, you're from the UK, for bread to go on sale, right? Because we had to watch our pennies. It's like, well, where was anyone then, right? And it's not I'm asking for a handout or make you feel sorry, but what I'm trying to emphasize is like, if you're struggling, like, I get it. I also been through so much. I'm still going through a lot. Like, I always say, if you're not in a problem, you're going to a problem, or you're coming from a problem. Like, your life is full of problems. The only time you don't have a problem is when God stops waking you up, right? And then you're in a place, hopefully in Jannah, like wherever you're going to be. So, but really and truly, it wasn't always like that for me. And I want to emphasize that and start with that, because at the same time, it's like, okay, cool. I went from like 0, like literally 0. I also worked jobs. If you ask me if I lost everything, I would still clean toilets. Like, that's the difference. Like, I'll clean 100 toilets if I have to. I've got the work ethic for that. So for me making millions in props, and also me making in my personal account and building my businesses, and like now the socials is one, and my input like with my family and things like that, it didn't come overnight. You know, it was really built. So to go back to the question you're asking for about like props and secret sauce, that's the same thing. Like, I was trading on my personal account for free, like 6 years, maybe 7 years now. I can't remember. Time is flying right now. And it still took me 4 years to become profitable. And that was on an own account, like doing $500. And the one thing people don't talk about is blowing a funded account is one thing, because you know one funded payout can pay it all. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say you have 5k, you buy 10 100ks, you just have to do 5k on one payout. Yeah. But if you keep blowing $500, like, and then you blow 5k, turning $500 into 5k is so hard. It's really so hard. Yeah. And that struggle was unreal. And then not only that, the journey is even longer. And then another thing is, I say like, okay, cool, prop versus brokers, right? Well, if you have, let's just say you have 5k. With 5k, you keep buying challenges, you do 100k. Let's just say you get funded with 100k. The goal is to make 10% per quarter. I'm not asking a lot here. Per quarter, just per quarter. That's 10k per quarter, okay? And then let's just say it's 8k with the profit split 80%, okay? So 8k per quarter. So that's 8, 16, 24, 32. So you're going to get $32,000 a year from a 100k account. A year. I'm breaking it into 4 months. I'm not talking about every month. I'm talking about a year. Now, And the argument and the statement I have for that is we'll turn 5K into 32K in a year. It's possible, but it's a lot harder.
Of course.
A lot. And also, here's the thing. If you blow that 5K, you can't try again.
Yeah.
But $500, you've got 10 tries of 100K account.
Yeah.
Right? So really and truly, there's no secret sauce. All it is time. And I watched this reel and I loved it because it was this young, like this older entrepreneur giving this young entrepreneur some love and some tough love. And you can see this young entrepreneur like really like, you know, he's sleeping in his car, he's working for it. He didn't ask for a handout as well. He didn't ask for a handout. And he goes over and then he goes, yeah, I just, you know, I'm just asking for some advice. I'm not asking for money. I just want to work it. I've got my leads. I'm calling from my car and he's doing this. And the guy goes, you've got the biggest currency in life. That's time. Because like, you know, I know you want to give back to your mum. I know you want to do this. And that goes to everyone. Like, I know you want to work. I know you want to make like 99% of people who are watching this want to make money is for their family. Not to, okay, Lambos will be great, but it's the second. It's normally the second or the third. I want to rock a watch, rock a Lambo. That's second. But what's everyone's number one? To put my family on, to look after my loved ones, my kids, my wife, you know, my parents, family. Yeah. And as much as that's a good intent, it takes time. And you have to be able to make essentially $5 from a 500 before you can even make 5K on 100, like 100K, and then, you know, 50K and 100, like 500K, 100K, whatever the number is. It takes time. You can't just do 100K overnight. If you do, remember, fast money leaves fast. Slow money stays longer because it's slow.
100% agree. And I love what you said about time, right? Because we see like people rush the process, and you're talking in quarters and then in years as well. 32K a year. You're not saying, oh, I'll make, you know, a day, a week, these small time frames, because when you put that kind of expectation on the table, you're going to have a losing day. It's guaranteed. I don't care which trader you are, you're going to have a losing day. That's the reality. And if you can't walk away from a red day, if there's a thing inside you where I have to finish green, you're going to have, you know, good days and then everything gone. And then you build back up, everything gone. It's always going to be that up and down roller coaster. So time, that was gold, absolute gold. And I think that's...
it's the success, right? And just kind of add on that as well and just give some free game and free value. Is like if everyone just took one thing, well, I'm sure we can add some more hopefully as the podcast goes on. But if you think about time, is the success formula to everything, because it's just obviously Napoleon Hill's method is right. You have to first have to desire, like, okay, cool, what do you want, what number, what do you want you to look like, what is success, who do you want to give back, what do you want to give back, right? First your desire is outlined and specific, then you have to have an indefatigable plan, like what is the plan? Okay, cool, like you want to be a millionaire, cool, what's the plan? You want to pass your challenge, what's the plan? Come on, like what's the plan, guys? Let's go. And then from there you have to have like resilient, persistent action. Now all of that coupled and it requires time, right? And if you think, okay, cool, I want to get in shape, you're not going to get in shape today. But if you say like by the end of the year, like if I just go to gym, every single day, I don't care. Like I always say, suck, don't skip. If you just go to gym and do 10 minutes, that's better than skipping, right? At least I went 10 minutes. 10 minutes compounded every day is always going to do more than 1 hour in one day. Yes, always. So if you just show up, like you will get, like his thing, there is no way every single human being could not get wham. And wham is an English term for getting in shape. Because I realize my lingo people don't get. Is at the end of the day, you will be better than when you started. Would you look like Superman or these Mr. Olympia? Probably not. But would you be better than yourself? Absolutely. So time, and it's the same thing with your bank account. Your bank account will grow if you just say, look, I'm starting at minus right now. I'm starting at 100 right now. Cool. All right. If I save $1 every day, that's $365 at the end of the year, right? People like just start small. $365. Like that's not a lot of, like it's possible. It's possible. Just get a job and say $6 an hour. Just say to yourself, okay, cool. Well, I'm working for $5 and put that $1 away. You're saving money every day, but only then can you scale with more money. More money is not your problem. It's the small habits.
Definitely agree. I want to find out something like, is there a particular time in your trading career, something that really sticks out where there was that kind of something clicked in your head? Maybe you suffered like a really big loss. Maybe it was a really big win. Maybe it was advice someone gave you. Is there a kind of defining moment where you really sticks out? Like I remember one of mine, but I'm interested if there was kind of like a moment for you.
There's so many, but I always revert it to the compound effect. And I've said it so much, I want to try and say it in a different way. But I always start off by this, and I think it's the biggest thing. Well, if you can respect $1, you can respect money. Sure. Well, what's $1 million? It's just $1 a million times. Yeah. Well, what's the difference between 4 figures and 5 figures? $1, really, right? Like 9999, add $1, that's 10K. So like the dollar really changed everything in my head, because I said I don't care about the outcome today. Story of that was I basically lost, like I just kept going through an up and down cycle, like an up and down cycle. And there was this one point where it took me 3 months to turn this 3K account into something like, I can't remember, like 12K or whatever it may be. It wasn't massive, but I did all of it. And then it just, after that, I was holding this trade, GBP, I remember the trades in specific. I remember holding this GBP NZD and it was like 500 pips. That's an insane amount of pips, but it just kept going and going and going and going and going. And then my expectations were wrong, right? I just think, oh, this will keep going. This is easy. I can just buy and just keep holding and holding and making it. And it was just in one of those market conditions. Then the market sentiment shifted. Then I kept losing and losing and losing and losing and losing. And then long before you know it, the whole account's gone. And then when the whole account was gone, I was just like, bruv, like all of that work, all of the build up, everything just went. Like, what am I doing? And then I was reading the compound effect, and the one thing that clicked was he talked about how a dollar multiplied every single day goes to like $5.6 million after 30 days, as opposed to having $1 million right now, right? And your $1 million would be $1 million at the end, because you don't know what to do with it anyway. But you'd have 5 times the amount of money if you just had a penny doubled every day. I thought to myself, okay, cool. Like, if that's the case, why don't I just start small, right? So $1. So I went for $5 a day, or £5, right, at the time. I said, I don't care what happens. Let's just go for £5 a day. Sometimes if I lose, that's cool. Just walk away, just stop. But if I can average, just try and £5 a day, just stop. That's just damn, like chill, just stop. And I did that. And ironically, even though I had the 5-time mentality, anytime it scaled up like 15 quid, 45 quid, 50 quid, I would just walk away. Because profit's profit. Walking away is profit. And I'm thinking about like, okay, cool. I just want to try and get to the end of this like journey just with a little bit of money, please, bro. Like, and also the only problem here is me. Like, I'm the one sabotaging. I'm the one self-sabotaging. Like, I just like chill. And from there, I always revert myself back to that. Like, even to this day, if I have losing periods, if I have anything, I always revert back to that. And it will be, obviously the numbers are bigger now, right? So I would say, okay, cool, I just slow down. 250 for 500. All right, cool. 1K for 2K, right? As a couple of years went on. Now it's 5K for 10K. Just slow down. Like, 5K is not going to break my bank. 10K is not going to break my bank. But back then, £5 was like, okay, cool. It affects a little bit, but it's just enough. Right, sure. £2.50 for 5 quid, right? 250. Okay, cool. I don't want to lose it, but also it's not going to change your life at that time.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. And then as you scale and everything scales, your numbers will scale. So that is still, I talk about that, but I always try and think about different ways to explain it, because I can't explain that pinnacle changed everything. From the same thing with the gym. I know how to get back in shape. Just go every day. Change your food. Cut out the
formula, right?
Formula. Okay, cool. Let's just cut out the sugars first. Okay. All right, cool. Now I'm going to cut out the carbs. All right, dope. Okay, cool. I'm going to add in some more fiber, just one at a time. Little bit. Let's not just cut out food, but all in one go. It's hard. Not only is it hard, I'm human. I'm not going to stick to this. I'm going to forget as well if you tell me like, I got to go gym, I got to do this, I got to change the way I train, I got to wear this, I got to like, whoa. And just training is the same. It's like, okay, cool. You got to only do this trade, you got to do this, you got to do this. We're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like calm down, son. So yeah.
So the compounding effect, I love what you said there. I mean, I've tried a similar challenge before, you know, where you kind of try and compound. The part I struggled with, when the amounts were something that wasn't really life-changing or really didn't matter that much, maybe it was like a few £100 up to 1,000, not that big of a deal. When the money started getting big, I found my personality changed, my emotional side changed. Do you know what I mean? Because now it means something. It actually, you know, if I lose this trade, like, that hurts. And because it happens so quick with compounding, how do you kind of detach from that emotional side? I mean,
just fail, right? Because I had my, years ago when I was trading, I had my first $1 million account. Wasn't mine, it was actually a client's. And I was trading profitably for, I think, 3 years. And then that 1 year, I just ended up like not doing well on that account. I hit the drawdown limit, and you know the conversations were there. And then I ended up not trading that account for that client or that specific investor. And it was a wake up call, and it was the numbers are hard, man. Like, bro, I'm going from trading a couple of K or like here and there to like $1 million account. And, like, you got 10K, 20K floating. The numbers really affect you. It's very hard to, okay, it's just a percent. I get it, I know. And this is why I say I can understand and relate. But it also makes it very like difficult to really attach to it. But the real answer from looking back at that is just failure. Okay, cool, it does affect me. Okay, cool, that's same thing. Let's just reset. What can I do, right? So you say the numbers are big, right? Well, the thing is, let's just say just call our account size. What floating trade affected you? Was it 10K, 5K,
at
2K?
that time, it It was around like closer to 10K. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 10K was the profit, right? Or floating?
Like maximum drawdown that I was happy to kind of like be in.
To lose 10K, cool.
Yeah.
So then let's just say it's like a 200K balance or roughly or whatever it is. Then let's just say, okay, cool. Then just slow down, stop, right? And then just half it. 5K for 10K. Because here's the thing, losing 5K, you'll be like, okay, cool. If I'm willing to lose 10, 5 ain't that deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then build the buffer again. Right,
Yeah.
cool. I've just done 10. I've lost 10, or like I've gone up, I've lost 5, 1, 5. Let's just hypothetically say, but you're still net up, right? Well, then cool. I'm going to up it to 7.5 again, and then keep going. Do that for a longer period, and then do 10.
Yeah.
So it's what it is just bumping yourself back down to bump yourself back up again.
Gotcha.
Because that way, rather than forcing it or going too far down, right, you've at least got some space to breathe again and catch yourself up. And this is where I had a conversation with Ricard. This is where dynamic risk works as opposed to static. But personal account, you have to have dynamic, in my personal opinion. But with props, you have to have statics. Otherwise, if you have dynamic, you're going to be trading this account forever and get no payouts. And that's what happened to me, right? So
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's a really good point you made there. Really good point. So don't be afraid to kind of slow down your growth. Essentially, it's actually in the long run.
Yeah, because it's your account.
further.
Like the money's not going to
exactly.
go, but like in a prop account, you can't
Yeah.
slow the growth because if you slow it down, it will just take forever. And the name of it,
yeah.
the name of the game is to make money in props. So,
So do you trade differently overall, like on the prop side than on your own personal account?
very differently. Yeah, I've found that over the past 2 years, it's changed. As I made more and more, it's changed more and more.
Are you more not risky, but are you more kind of not eager? I don't know what the right word would be. We can say risky. I'm not saying you're going to like full port counts or anything like that. But would you be a bit more kind of risky on the prop side or on your personal money?
Yeah, for sure. Like, well, not even that really, because it kind of counteracts. Because sometimes on my personal account, there could be 3% exposure. Just depends on the trade. But I think the props, my name is just to get funded. I don't care like how much it is. But to be fair, like as I made a video, I'm restricted by like every prop firm at the moment, except for Ola Prime at the moment. We don't know if that will come, but I'm pretty sure it's cool. Pretty sure it's chill. But like every prop firm has restricted me, and I'm okay with that. I get it because like I'm getting payouts and they want to lower the exposure. And to be honest, I can't complain. Like I always say this, like I made a video and I'm really emphasizing on it. It's like people say, oh yeah, they shouldn't restrict you. Like it's their business. Like I always say it's quite simple. If I have a restaurant, don't feel entitled that I have to serve you.
Sure.
If I don't like you or I don't like the way you eat my food or just get out, like this down to them. You know what I mean? Like I'm just grateful they haven't banned me.
Yeah.
So I'm still trading with them. And so I'm on like risk restrictions, I'm on margin restrictions, lot restrictions, on all of them, and it's still enough for me to trade. I can still trade with them, you know what I mean? It's not that bad, but there are a few other companies actually just come into mind that they've removed some of the restrictions, so it's not that hard. But for prop firms, it's really important to get funded and then scale the payouts and then rotate. And then on personal account, it's just I want to be profitable at the end of the year. They're very different because the account is long lasting for my personal. And for props, I used to think to try and keep them long lasted, but I just want to rinse them for one thing, payouts. Because that's what, here's the thing, we come into trading for what? To make money, right? I'm not coming in to get this 200K funded account to trade it forever. I just want to get payouts. Do you know what I mean? I want payouts now. Like I don't want it tomorrow. I don't want it I just got to work towards getting it now, you know? And that doesn't mean I'll go crazy, because on phase 1 and phase 2, I'll have a riskier trade or a riskier attack than I will on funded. Because funded means payouts. That's technically a live account. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I attack it very differently. Very differently.
I mean, we just launched Ola Prime 1. You know, we found a lot of people, like we're known for 1 hour payouts, right? And so speed is kind of a big factor of that, obviously. But we found also people want to pass quickly. They want to have the ability to get to the funded stage quickly. I mean, it's all well and good getting, once you're funded and you get your payout, you get it in 1 hour. That's great. No one's going to complain. But if it takes you 2 weeks to get funded, do you know what I mean? It's still, for a lot of people, it feels like a long process, right? Mm-hmm. So they want it like...
faster.
Yeah, exactly. So literally with Ola Prime 1, you can get funded in 1 day.
Yeah.
And I think people are loving it.
I haven't seen it. What's the profit target and drawdown?
10%, and it's 7% trailing.
7% trailing.
Yeah.
Does the trailing stop, or is it just like cut out? Like, does it trail to like, for example, because normally when it goes to, say you have like a 100K account, right? When some trailing, it follows just the 200K and then it just stops there, and the rest is your buffer, or does it just keep following you all the way up?
I'm actually not 100% sure.
Okay,
I'll have to double check.
I'll
we
check.
literally launched it like, I think a week ago.
Yeah, it was like yesterday, right? I got the message. Yeah,
and I've been like, here in Dubai, you know, doing everything. So
Yeah,
I
haven't checked yet.
Yeah, but
Well, one step is definitely the way. Like I love one step, and I also think one step is really important to have in your portfolio, because two steps really good because you have the static and it's there, and also you have 10% drawdown. But one step, it just helps, even trading or not trading, because you only have to do 10% once. Because if phase 1 and phase 2, you've got 10% and then 5%, right? Which is a whole different story. But yeah, I used to love one step until I got like all of those firms shut down. Bro. I was owing like 55. Like it's so depressive. $50,000. I think to myself, man, I could have bought me another AP.
no, absolutely. I mean, look, like, yeah, getting.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem in the prop industry. You know, I mean, it's good to be skeptical about things. 100%. I think you should always do your due diligence. Always, you know, do your research. 100%, right? But there are bad actors in the game, and there are things that happen in the past. Obviously, not mentioning any firms. That kind of eroded the trust for a lot of traders.
Yeah.
Right.
But props are still great. I think that now that's why all of that bad practice is gone and everyone knows what to look out for. We've only got risings of good. I mean, like we've got loads of other firms coming back now. Not only have we got firms coming back, that's good for the whole forex space. Like it's not about only one firm. It's all about all the firms, because if you can have, like, as a trader as well, we got to remember, like, let's trade with them all, not just one. And not only that, with the prop firms, they got to think, if other prop firms are doing good, that means we're doing good.
Sure.
You know, you got to have that abundant mindset, the infinite mindset. You can't just be the only one going for it, because then you've got no competition, which means you're not going to innovate, right? And then if you've got no other competitions to do well, that means the market's saturated, right? So you got to have that. It's a win-win situation. So I think FX props right now, like, I've even doubled down on it even more, because before last year I said $1 million was all I could get in FX, but now more firms are more reliable and I can get more. I can get 2 million in funding from FX now, and in futures I can do 2 million. Futures is easy to get 2 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, like CFD is the case. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Like, genuinely, 50% of our funded accounts are A booked in Ola Prime.
Oh, sick.
So, you know, like, traders like you, for example, who can actually produce really good results, will almost 100% guarantee, well, not guarantee, I can never say guaranteed, but there's a high chance you'll be A-booked with Ola Prime. And of course, like, that's actually some of the biggest money in the business model.
Yeah.
Challenge phase and, you know, getting the actual challenge fee, of course, is an income stream. But the real money, like we have, there's one trader, I'm not going to mention his name, but we've done interviews with him. He's an Ola Prime trader, and the guy's smashing it. Like, he's just such a consistent, like, he's almost like the perfect trader on paper. Do you know what I mean? The profit we can make from him, literally, honestly, like, no joke, it's like a huge chunk of, you know, you would have to sell how many challenges to get that kind of, because we can back him with more capital in the back end.
Yeah. So it's a win-win scenario.
It is such a good model. So Dan, tell me, you trade forex and futures, right, on prop side? I'm assuming you started with CFDs, because they were kind of, you know, first up, and then so which one do you prefer? Like, real talk.
Back when I first started trading, it was always like forex pairs, like cable, all of those, and plus I worked in a brokerage, so that's how I learned all of this. Nice. Yeah, so I was in a brokerage. Like, I guess that's not really, I don't say that much, but that's how I met my mentor too. So I was actually on a brokerage, and I could see his books. I was like, whoa, he trades, like, this is how much he trades, this is how much he's making. This was back before, like, 2000, like, just after post 08. When was Euro Swiss franc floor was like 2010 or 2012. Can't remember when the franc floor was.
That in London?
The franc, I worked in London. I was
like
I worked in brokering in London, and that was a good time, man. I was like 1 year, went from rest of the world team and then worked in China team.
Nice.
Because like, rest of the world was the whole world, right? Excluding America had the big one, and also SEC regulations, but China on its own did double the rev of the whole world. It just goes to show how much money is in and out of China that we just don't know about. And this was still, like, going back 12, 15 years ago, whenever I worked in
like when I started, I was in London as well.
Oh, really?
At that time,
But
with a prop firm.
Oh, really?
Like the old school prop firm.
Oh, the institutional ones, right? Yeah. Oh, snap. Where were you working in London?
Literally in the city of London.
I was in Liverpool Street, and then, a lot of time in Liverpool Street, and a lot of time in Broadgate Circle back in the day.
Maybe we bumped into each other. We didn't even know.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That was time ago. Like, I'm talking, it was like 15 years ago for me.
Yeah. Literally 15 15 years.
Yeah, time is going like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
so we would have been crossing paths at some way,
Definitely.
shape, or form. Yeah, but you were just on the other side, and
Yeah.
I went into. Yeah, that's crazy.
world, man.
Yeah, that is a really small world. Yeah, I remember that was really, really, really good times. I really enjoyed the broker days. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned my basics of finance, macroeconomics, economics, how it worked. We had back in the day Bloomberg. We had a lot of content with like Bloomberg, because the company I worked for worked with Bloomberg a lot, and obviously Bloomberg is the marketing, right?
Yeah.
And we learned a lot from them too, which was really cool. So I started off with forex, hence why working in a forex broker. And then really and truly for the years to move forward, I was only trading DAX and gold. So it's not really forex, it's commodities and indices.
Sure.
But it was just for through contracts for difference, so CFDs or spread betting at the time. And I always been trading them, and I still always trade DAX. Even futures right now, when I trade futures, I trade XAU USD, right? So it's still gold, but it's just not labeled as that. It's GNDZ, or can't remember what the ticker is for it.
GC,
but it's still gold. Do you know what I mean? I don't think for me right now forex or futures is the case. I just always trade the same instrument. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
However, for prop firms, you got forex versus futures. I always believe, and I've made a video for this, this is a free game for everyone, is forex is your steady income. Futures is your big one-off payouts. Because futures, you have the buffer, so you can build the accounts, you want to grow the accounts, you want to trade the accounts, make more, get 6-figure payouts, 5 figures, whatever number makes you tickle, depending on what account size you have. But CFDs are so consistent, you can have these accounts as static buffer. Okay. Now there's a lot of reasons of why you should have the steady from CFDs as opposed to having big ones from CFDs, and I'll go through a few of them just to kind of like help anyone who's watching, especially if you watch this far. So with CFDs, you have static drawdown. And what do I mean by static drawdown? If you have $100,000 account, the maximum you can lose is $5,000 in a day, $10,000 in total. No matter what, even if you've built the account to 150k, you can that even though technically the new 10% is 15k, you cannot change the maximum. Okay. Now, as a person like myself who's been trading, I've been restricted. So the restriction is a lot of the firms who've put me on is 1% per account. Okay. So it's 1% of the original account size. So even if I'm at 150k, so 50% of the original account, I can still only risk maximum $1,000. If I go over that $1,000, they've got a reason to deny my payout. You know what I mean? So you can see like, well, if I can always maximally risk $1,000, there's only so much money I can make. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you can't scale. Of course, I can keep compounding, but the trade's going to be the same.
Yeah.
That the maximum I can do is 1k risk. So if I've got a 5R, the max I can make is 5k.
Yeah.
You
can't compound really.
I can't. You're right. The only thing I can't compound with scalability. The only thing I can just compound wins.
Yeah.
But like that's it. That's finished. So I can't do anymore. No matter what the number is, 200k. It's always going to be that. But with futures, there is no limit. Yeah. Because with futures, yes, you've got your first, but once you've got the buffer enough and you've built their account size, that whole account is yours. As long as you don't go to zero. As long as you don't go to zero or hit the trailing. So if I've got 50k on 3 accounts, do you know what I mean? That's 150k I've got to risk. Of course, I'm only trading with the 50k. I can put 5k on, right? Which is a lot more than you can do on CFD. So it's better to trade that for like, per quarter and do quarterly payouts. Plus, it takes, a lot longer to get futures payout because of the consistency score and all of these things. But I'm not too bothered about that. I'm really not too bothered about that. And realistically and truly, with that CFDs, it's like, okay, cool. If I can only risk 1k, just get like 2 or 3k, like 2 or 3 wins, stop the account. It's done. Like just park the account. Now I guarantee 2k. Yeah. As long as I don't trade it.
That's it.
Do you get what I'm saying? So
100%.
then I move on to the next one and then move on to the next one and just rotate them. People, and just to kind of clarify, I've seen a lot of people asking in previous like podcasts and stuff like that. I don't copy all of them. You just rotate them. And even when you rotate them, you part them, you just leave them. And one of the things I found from the previous podcast is when I looked at it is I can make a payout even in a losing month. Because if say you have 3 accounts, right? If you've made 2k on this one account and then you lose on these two are now in drawdown, but this one's still in payout. I just have to trade next month. This one will be fresh at 0, like 100k. These ones, let's just say it's minus 2k. Cool, it doesn't matter. Just have one win will put them both back into break even, and I can do that next month. But I've still got 2k this month.
Yeah.
Right, and then
so you don't copy trade all of them. You kind of essentially spread your risk, right?
Yeah, I batch them. Yeah. And plus, you can't copy trade on a lot of a lot of firms don't allow copy trading for CFDs and stuff.
Smart
like
move.
that.
Smart move.
Yeah, it's better that way. Also, you got to try and do what you got to do to not give them a reason to say no. But you just got to abide by the rules. That's how I play it, man. Just play by the rules, man.
This is it.
Play by the rules, and they'll let you play.
Find
Same thing.
Good firm, play by the rules.
Exactly. Don't come to tennis and start punching people in the face. It's two different sports. It's two different sports, right? It's not the same sport. Chill out. One's boxing or abuse or physical abuse.
I love that.
Yeah, or social charge. Sorry. Yeah, it's the British humour. Sorry, mate. What was you going to ask?
That was great. I love that. All right. So with futures, obviously, you can't hold trades overnight, right? You got to cut them, right? So do you trade differently in CFDs? Are you more of a swing trader in CFDs, or are you just intraday every time?
Yeah, everything's a day trader, so I don't have those problems. Yeah, I'm just in and out in a day, and I hate swing trading anyway.
Me too.
I can't tell you how many times I've held a trade and then overnight it just reverses like 300 pips, and then all the worst one. The reversal is not the worst. I tell you, one of the worst things in swing trading is
can't sleep.
Is when that's what this is worse. This is worse. Let's just say you slept for that 1 hour because you're like in and out, right? And you sometimes check out, all right, we've got the same feeling. But this is the worst. When it hits your stop loss and it's because of the spread.
Yeah, as soon as the market
and then it goes in your favor. I'm like, okay, cool, well, I'm done trading. Like, game over. I'm so finished with this. Like, it's just,
you're right. That's
I hate that feeling. Like, and so I always say, and not even in trading, just in life, like, just do what pisses you off less. Like, because do you know what I mean? Like, why would I want to hold a trade? Like, okay, cool, for an extra 10k, like, just go to sleep.
Yeah,
I don't care about that 10k. I'll make a 10k over time. I want to make that 10k sooner or later.
No, you're 100%. And we're not shitting on swing traders. Like,
I am.
Man. He's not.
Like, to be fair, swing traders make the most amount of money because they can compound and they can make the biggest move. I know a guy that's been trading gold from 1300, so you can only imagine. And I last spoke to him when their prices was 3k and his account was already up 2.2 M, and that's personal account. So I can't even imagine what it's at now. I know he cashed out quite a lot, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's doubled. Like, even if he had 50% of the position, he's still done another 2 M.
I mean, that guy's I'll call him a position trader.
Yeah, position trader. Yeah. Well, your position.
He was a long-term investor.
Yeah, he only put 100k in as well. So he, after 100k, when he went to 2.2, he pulled out 500 and said the rest is just profit, playing with profits. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then I tried to do the same, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's too.
That's
much
what happens though.
me,
When you see the numbers, you're like, I want to try that.
like people always think, to be a good trader, you got to be this emotionless, robotic person. Truth be told, I think 15 years in a game, there's still emotion there. I don't think I could ever turn it off. I can't be that person. Maybe I'm just not built that way. But I like the least amount of possible stress on my mental and physical. Like, when I'm trading, like, I need to
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can't sit still and just chill. Yeah. Like, I'm watching the chart. So I like to be in, out, call it a day.
And then
do you know what I mean?
And there's also a psychological study that says that you can only make X amount of emotional decisions in a day. So, if you're starting to, once you say you can only do 3 emotional decisions because every individual is different, by the time you've done 3 trades, when you go home, you can't even start making these decisions anymore because your shots are fired.
Yeah.
So then that's why sometimes you might lash out at your other half, or you cannot be bothered with people, or you feel certain ways because you can only manage so much decisions. You're human. So, that's why you got to manage your trades accordingly, because if you put all 3, let's just say you've only got 3 of those decisions you can do a day, 3 shots, and you put them all into trading, but what about your loved ones? What about hold on a sec, isn't this who you're doing it for in the first place? And this is a self-reflection that I've also had to have, is like, I don't want to be exhausted from trading and then come home and then take that out on the family, whatever. Let's just do 1 or 2 trades that fills the cut, okay, and then leaves the 2 or 3 other shots for my family, or decisions in, like moving to Dubai, right? You've got all the finances and you have to make the right decisions, or it could cost you a lot.
Of course.
But then, are you going to make that decision for your life movements or trading? But if you're constantly exhausting them from trading, and trading is exhausting you, where have you got the energy for life? And that's a big thing. And I understand it, because in trading, you want to make it happen. You have this dream and you're just trying to chase it. You see people do it. You watch podcasts and you think, he did it, I want to do it. And I get it. I truly get it. And you know what? No matter what I say, I just don't think it will ever mean enough to say, like, it will happen when it's meant for you. You just have to slow down. And because when someone told me that, I'd be like, okay. And then I'll just work harder. But it really will come. Like, I've seen everyone I've met, and the people who've had everything handed to them make it. And I've seen everyone handed something, couldn't make it. I've seen someone who had nothing make it, and see someone with nothing still stay nothing. It does not matter at the top. There is no racism. There is no sexism as well. Everyone who made it at the top is their own individual.
Yeah.
So that. So there's no reason why every individual cannot make it, aka whoever's watching. As well.
I 1,000,000% agree with that.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah. Spoke about Dubai.
Yeah.
Your life here and everything. Do you think there has to be a good balance? Because I feel a lot of people they scroll on Instagram and they see all this kind of hustle culture and stuff. And I do agree. Like if you want something in life, you got to work hard for it. But I think with trading, study hard, absolutely. Study the charts, put all your time into that if you have to. But over trading, like being on the charts, actively trading, I think it almost has an opposite effect when it comes to trading. Do you feel there has to be a good kind of balance between trading and actually enjoying your life? Do you know what I mean?
It's hard coming from me because all I do is work. So that's all we're passionate about. Like, and I love working, I love doing what we do. But I think with trading, I always say it's the most contradiction profession in the world. And the reason why it's the most contradiction profession in the world is because the less you do, the more you make. But then you also have to study really hard. But then the less you spend at the charts, the more money you make. And also the more you spend at the charts, also the less you could potentially have. And it only gets to a stage where that switches. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like, it gets really difficult because just because you spend more time waiting for an opportunity doesn't mean you're making more money. Yeah. And you're also kind of counterintuitive. The whole point, I always think it's funny, like even me, right? When we first got into trading, why did we? We got into trading because we wanted to live on a beach and just make money and do whatever. When you get there, you do not do that.
No.
Because it's the entrepreneurial in you and the hustle in you to keep doing it. And you need to keep distracted. So I think that the balance of life is just like, for me anyway, it's about what was it that I wanted. And I've got everything I wanted. Alhamdulillah for that. And I believe that everything that I had was because I was very specific of what I was focused on, from the wife to the living and everything. And I enjoy it. But I don't need to fill that cup by spending 12 hours sitting at home doing nothing and just playing. I like it with snippets, like yesterday I had an amazing dinner with my family and it wasn't anywhere special, it was just a nice little noodle place. For 11 people I paid like 1,000 dirhams, so 250 quid for 11, that's like £20 a person. Yeah, it's not bad. But it's coming from my, from my pocket, and I get to feed my family. And that was a really good feeling from it. And then, my son is doing more sports, so I'm going to take him there. But if I'm with him every day, because I did this when I first had my son newborn, on the first year I spent as much time as I with him. It's great for him, but it's also not showing him by leading by example, by working all the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that don't be at home and don't be present, but it's like, okay, cool. Like if dad's big and strong, he can't just think dad's big and strong automatically. Like dad went to the gym, dad made the choices at home, dad doesn't drink, dad does this, dad does this. Like for example, even prayers, right? My son, he goes, I pray to God. And I was like, okay, show me. And then he goes, but how does he learn that? Through watching me. And I think it's important to set that standard of it. But balance is incredibly important, but it's hard to do. You just have to know how to fill your cups. They're never going to be 100. That's a really big lesson for everyone. There's only so much water you can have. There's only one cup, but you've got to fill them all, from your life to your wife to your kids to your work to your bank account to your own spiritual to your own health to your family's health. You've got so much to juggle. And as a man as well, it's really important to be that person who pours your cup for everyone. Because I don't care what this people say in day and age. Men are like, we get most happy when we see our loved ones. I don't get happy that I'm if you're by yourself just with all the things that you wanted in the world. That doesn't bring true happiness for a man. True happiness is when we solve your problems and you can come to me. Definitely. It's like, okay, cool, hey, Dan, like I've got the
we want to be useful.
That's what we care about.
But
that's the truth though.
It's true. 100%. It's deep rooted in our
DNA,
DNA, whatever. You know what I mean?
It's like we don't even need to be needed. We just need to be respected, and also we try to yearn to give. That's why we go to war. That's why firefighters. That's why policemen. That's why we just want to protect and provide in this day and age. And of course, there are some that don't. That's great. That's a you problem. That's your decision. That's totally fine. But for me, I was born this way. Just like the same thing, you can say you're born your way. My way is to provide and protect, and I stand by it always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's really beautiful what you said there. Absolutely agree. So Dan, obviously you've been in this industry quite a while now. Do you remember your first pair? Do you remember the feeling when you first got an actual like I remember the first time I made like proper money in trading, and I went out to a restaurant. And I bought, like, obviously I paid for the meal, and then it kind of hit me in that moment. I was like, that money came from the markets. Like, how insane is that? And it just kind of hit me like a wave, and I was like, this is the best job in the world, man. I want that feeling every day. Do you remember that first payout, first withdrawal, whatever it might be?
I got an opposite. It sounds so different, but I remember my first payout that should have happened. But this changed everything though.
Yeah.
And this was because backstory is like I was trading my personal account for quite a few years, and then COVID came in, and I thought I'd try prop firms, and I'd failed like 20 challenges because it was $500, and I just didn't respect it. I was like, $500, whatever, man. Like, let's just get funded quick, right? You're just rushing it, you're just gambling it to some degree. Because I was like, whatever, who cares? I just full port this, whatever.
Yeah.
And I finally guess full ported my way, or just traded the way I shouldn't have, and I was actually expected a 21k payout.
Wow.
From the, like, obviously one of the biggest prop firms at the time, and kind of still is, and that ended up getting blown essentially because I got to 21, and then I was chasing more, and then it reminded myself, it's like, well, the numbers up is infinity, but if I just stopped, I would have made 21.
Yeah.
And that one like changed everything. And then the next one I did secure a payout, and it was only like $2,000 or $3,000 after that, but that was everything. I was like, just stop, bro. Let's just get this payout. Let's just, you know what I mean? Like, calm down. We got this. Like, just take it easy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, it might not be the first payout I remember, but I think it's the first payout that should have happened. But it was also a good thing because, again, it's God's plan. It's like I didn't get it. Yeah. And I kept blowing it, and I kept chasing it, because to be fair, I was like, I need 100k from props, but who am I to come in and say 100k? Carry on trading your personal if you think you're so good, you know? So, you know, but then prop has really scaled it, because, you know, even though I was consistently doing okay, I wasn't making a huge amount from personal, but it was more than the average, and still good to live a really good life. But now with props, you can just scale so much. So, you know, it doesn't answer the first payout I got, and I don't think it relates nowhere near as much, because I guess my first withdrawal felt different. My first withdrawal was like, I think it was like 200 quid, and that I used to pay for dinner, and that was the best feeling ever, because it felt
Great,
like, it's the best feeling ever, because it was only dinner, but it was like, this came from trading.
Yeah.
So that I do remember, but the payout wise, it should have been 21k, and I learned a lot, and it was not the traditional story. I could have got 21k, but I ended up just over trading it.
An expensive lesson, but I think every trader learns from pain.
But from there, I mean, I think we've just crossed $1 million in payouts total now, and that's 2 years down the game. So it's kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Really crazy amount we've done. That, I think it's crazy now. Just thinking about it. So
But we learn from pain. Like, I think every trader out there who's been here in this game long enough, they all have that one kind of painful moment. Like, I have one where at the best like 2 weeks of my trading career, honestly, I don't know what happened, but my win rate was, and I'm not even joking, I'm not shitting you guys, like my win rate was in the 90%. And I was
sometimes it happens, you just click a button and it wins.
I was just unstoppable.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell's going on? But I'm going to keep rolling with it. And I kept going. And then I thought to myself, I was like, if I make this trade, I can get 100k. This is cash, right? A cash account, right? And you know what I did? Up the limit, up the risk, the lot size. That was the trade that didn't work out. And all my profit I made in those 2 weeks, like I could have bought a very nice brand new car with that money.
Yeah,
gone. I'm not joking, Dan. 2 hours, it was gone.
Yeah,
not even. And after that, I looked at myself in the mirror.
It's like the worst feeling ever, right?
That I couldn't trade for like 3 months. I had PTSD off the charts. I'm not joking. Every time I looked at it, I was like, I can't do this.
It's kind of like shame as well. It's embarrassment, shame, it's frustration. But that's trading as an overall. And I think that everyone has to go through the same steps. Everyone has to go through the same hours in order to get to where you need to get to when it comes to trading. But yeah, the pain is the biggest. I always say pain is the biggest lesson. Pain always teaches you the most. We could tell you, like parents, the fire's hot, the fire's hot, the fire's hot. But how hot? Does it really hurt? What does burning really feel like?
Got to touch it and find out.
It just stops. So yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like you said, those lessons are so important, and I've never done that mistake again. Never, ever done it. Because
once you're burnt, you're like, okay, that's hot. I'm not going to touch it.
And so, okay, it sucked at the moment, but looking back now, it was the best thing that could happen.
Facts.
So I'm happy it happened then rather than happen now, because that would be even more painful. Do you know what I mean? So
it's God's plan. He made you lose it there for a reason. So yeah,
exactly.
Facts.
And I think you've got to have some kind of like belief or faith, whether it's, you know, in religion, whether it's in yourself, or whatever you believe in. You know, I think it's important to have kind of like
faith is key.
Yeah, detachment as well to the overall outcome. Like, I know the more detached you are from an outcome in life, the more likely you're going to get it. You know, if you're really attached to one trade and you marry it, you're like, it has to hit.
But that's just
it's going to reverse right before you hits your take profit and stop you out.
But that's life in general, though. Like everything we make and have, like we can't take with us.
Yeah.
So it's really like it honestly, like you said, like it is like none of detachment is key. Like attachment to some degree, which we have and we're blessed with to have that feeling of attachment. But really and truly, everything's inevitable for every single human on this planet, and we're gonna leave. And we can't take anything with us. But what do you leave behind, and who were you, and how did you face it, and what kind of person were you? That's a you problem. So yeah.
Definitely. So Dan, we're gonna wrap it up in a minute, but for the audience, for the people watching, I'm assuming most people are going to be, getting into trading, probably have some experience already. It's going to be all different levels. What could be kind of the best advice you could give to someone, especially, channeling from your own experience? Because I feel every trader's journey is very similar. We go through the same kind of ups and downs. What could be the best advice you could give?
Would that be best advice for trading, or you think best advice for life?
It could be in life, because I think it all kind of ties in. Life, trading,
I think
how to make it in this game.
I think life is more important, because better human, better trader, and as you make it in life, trading kind of coexists with that. And to be fair, I'd say that for this specific podcast in this specific moment, I always say that these are the best ones, is that I'd say faith. Like, I don't care. Like, let me just outline this here before some of you guys who get so turned off by like, God or whatever it is. You want to name it to the universe, knock yourself out. If you want to name it to God because you're a Christian, great. You want to be a Buddhist, great. If you want to be a Muslim, great. Whatever you want to associate this to. I don't care, right? But let's just, even Amazon, if you want to claim this and be like, okay, cool, it's like an Amazon order. That's cool. Just hear me out. Because you've got nothing to lose if you hear me out. And you've got everything to gain. You could say, like, I agree or disagree. That's all you're going to gain from it. But if you agree and then you could take something, think about it. What could change? You're watching this podcast for a reason. So for me, I'm going to assign this to, obviously for me, it's God, Allah. And I think that everything happens for a reason. You have a vision for a reason. Something was given to you in your mind for a reason. Like if you vision in something, it's clear as day. You want to move to a country. It might not be Dubai. It might be Saudi. It could be Thailand. It could be America. It could be you. It doesn't matter. But that vision is yours. And who gave you that vision? Where did the vision come from? And why is it in your head in the first place? And it's in your head. Like, think about it. No one said to you, dream of this. No one said, do this. And even if they did, like, let's just say, I say dream of a camel. You don't want a camel. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want one. It doesn't matter what I have to say. Even if your parents say, get a camel. But now parents say, go to uni, do this. We don't want to do that. We want to do something else that we want to do and make a mark for us and have this vision that is us. Everyone is given a vision. Everyone is given a dream. But it is down to you whether you want to chase it or not. And the one thing that I would say, and it's not just advice, it's just experience. That's all it is. Just calm down, it's experience. Is Allah gave me this vision for a reason. But I have to go through certain experiences in order to go there. And this is it. It's to have that faith. Just like an Amazon order, if you're not religious, you just put it to Amazon. Just like an Amazon order. You have faith that if you put and press a button that you press on Amazon, that order is going to come to your house tomorrow. Amazon Prime. Why do you not have faith on life? It worked out, right? You woke up, you're watching this podcast, you're doing whatever you need to do. You watched this clip wherever you watched it, so it came up. So why don't you just have a little bit of faith on what you've got? The world was created in such a... Think about how perfect the world is. Yes, there's nitty-gritty, there's negativity, but think about it. There's skin, there's blood, there's veins, there's coursings, there's there's organisms. You have a liver, you have lungs. Like, think about it. It's just crazy how the human body is perfect in its own way. So if you can associate that, and I know it's something completely from trading, but I know that not everyone's going to really listen to this and digest this, but I know there is someone out there who really heeds this message. It's just to have faith, hit your 5 a day. If you know, and you'll be fine. That's it. That's my message.
Well said. Really well said. Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
Honestly, it's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe.
Definitely. Like, share, subscribe. Do all that good stuff. But we're out. Thank you, guys.
All at Prime. Trade with transparency.